You certain?
No.
This is gonna be good.
Seen that? Seen what? I need you to focus here. This woman needs containing.
How goes it? Now there are no ones. How do you think it's going?
That looks like it hurt.
Hopefully you'll have beginner's luck getting it into first.
A little intense for the kids, ain't it? No, they love it.
Sugar plus potassium chlorate.
It's very complex.
Let's blow this time.
Hi, guys. We're here with LeAnn Rimes. Pretty exciting.
Thank you.
LeAnn, we're talking about Logan Lucky.
Yes.
Which I saw yesterday. It's amazing.
It's funny.
Channing Tatum, Katie Holmes, Hilary Swank.
She says Channing Tatum because her crush went up a notch, she told me.
I like it. Yeah, it grows every day. But how did this come into your life?
A phone call, actually. I guess Steven Soderbergh had seen me perform the national anthem at the Indy 500 a few years ago, and when he needed someone to sing "America the Beautiful" for this NASCAR race, which I've performed at many NASCAR races, but the national anthem, he called me. So I ended up a couple of days later after the phone call in Atlanta, where they were filming the movie, and I went down to set and sang America the Beautiful twice, and that was it. It was the easiest thing I've ever done, honestly.
So cool.
Yeah, Steven was amazing. He's such a down-to-earth human being, and the set was just like super chill, and I actually kind of freaked out when I went to set because, well, the night before when I got there, they're like, they handed me the lyrics to America the Beautiful, and there's 8 verses. I don't know if anyone knows there's 8 verses to this song. No. So I go, whoa, okay. I'm like, so he wants all 8 verses. And actually his producers was like, oh yeah, he wants all 8. I'm like, no, can I talk to him? Like, this can't happen. So I go to set, and I'm like, there's 8 verses. Do you want all these? He's like, there are 8 verses? I'm like, thank you, God. He doesn't know there's 8 verses. And so, no, he's like, oh, no, just like 2 of them is good. I'm just like, okay, cool. We'll be good in the morning. But yeah, so I've sung the national anthem. I've sung God Bless America like a million times, but never America the Beautiful. And it is a beautiful song. So yeah.
It's such a beautiful song, and your rendition is incredible.
Thank you.
And you also have one of your original songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Love is love is love.
Yes, there's lots of love in us.
Lots of love, which we need.
Yes.
2 songs with really important messages. I mean, we're at such a weird moment in the country right now. How do you feel singing both of those songs?
Well, I haven't thought about those 2 songs being linked together at this moment. Yeah, we're in a world where we definitely need more love. I mean, it's what we're made of. It's our essence, and I think that if we need to tap into that more, we really do, and realize as a human race, as these beings, we're all one. I mean, we really are. I truly believe this. Everything that's going on right now is just heartbreaking. But I think music is such a powerful tool to be able to share messages. And my album Remnant, which this song is off of, there's a lot of love on the record, and as an artist, sometimes you don't realize why you're writing something until after the fact. And as a songwriter, writing a lot of love songs for a record is very cliche. Like, why am I writing all of these love songs? Because I have many titles that have the word love in it. And then you realize, for me, I realized that on this album I was taking a look at it from many different angles. And Love is Love is Love is basically standing up for it. You know, I've been a huge supporter of the LGBTQ community for a long time. And outside of that, we had this major conversation as writers in the room of how far can our love extend? And I know that's a really deep question right now. You know, can you disagree with someone? Can you face someone that's done really deplorable acts and still find a way to extend love? And we had a different opinion from every single person writing this song in the room of how far it could extend. And so it's a question to ask ourselves at this moment. And I think this song is really powerful. And it's about starting a conversation, I think there's a lot of arguments going on. There's not a lot of conversations that are based out of this grounded kind of love that we need to be conversing from. So, yeah, like I said, you kind of don't realize what you're writing about until after the fact. And you're like, oh, that's why. Okay.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, you're spreading so much positivity right now. You also have this incredible blog that I don't know if people know about that.
No,
but it's really, really awesome.
Oh, thanks.
And I actually wanted to read a quote from it because it struck me so much. But in one of my favorite posts, you wrote, "My strength is defined not by what I continue to carry, but what I have allowed myself to put down."
Yeah.
Which just really hit me. And I wanted to know, what have you had to put down in your life to get to the real LeAnn?
Oh, wow. Well, I started, I've had a really interesting upbringing, obviously starting in this business from such a young age. And there's a lot of things I've had to put down. I've talked about, we talk about ego. Well, first off, I didn't really have a human, childhood experience, a real human, humanity. There was a lot of humanity to it. There was a lot of work to it. There was a lot of drive to it. There was a lot of, it was just very unnatural, but at the same time, it was very normal for me. I didn't know any different. And I joke with my friends, 7 years ago, my life changed and things fell apart and came together all at the same time. And I go, oh, this is what being a human's like. We joke about it. I'm like, this is cool. And really hard. And so, the humanity of it all, I think, to find myself in a place where my confidence now comes from a knowing instead of, and I think ego is great. I think there's actually a really healthy place for it. But to where I felt, I guess also I felt really outside, like an outsider. I felt very closed off from the world. I joked for a while, I don't like people. I don't like being around people. And that's completely the opposite of who I am. I love people. And I've realized, that's my connection with people, my connection through music. I love being able to connect that way. And, my whole being kind of closed off for a while. So it was having to let go of all of these walls and, and stories that, I guess, my perception of things from the way that I was raised. And the way that I grew up. So I'm in such a good place. It's a really beautiful place to be, and I've survived. I survived. I'll be 35 on the 28th, and there's a very few people that I could have called upon or can call upon that started that young and are still doing this at my age, and most of them actually that I could have called upon that started that young are not with us anymore. So I think that there was always that road to go down, but I chose a different one. So thank God.
Yeah. What would you tell 13-year-old LeAnn?
Oh, the biggest thing for me is to listen to your instincts. I was very intuitive as a kid. We all are. And then for me, I had so many opinions get into my mind, and if you failed, it was okay, well, you tried to start becoming something that you weren't, that wasn't authentic, just to kind of fit the mold or whatever it might have been. And I lost that piece of me for a while. It was still there, but I didn't tap into it very often. And so now that I'm back into that piece of me, it's oh, that was always there. Don't ever lose that. Always listen. Even though you're 13, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. You still know what's in you that feels right. So, yeah.
To talk about music for a second, yes. You seriously have my favorite voice in country music.
Oh, thank you.
Will we ever get a pure country album from you?
I would never say never. Absolutely not. I love all types of music. As you can tell, my career has spanned 20-something years. I've done pretty much everything except polka or bluegrass or something by now. I need to rap. That I can do that eventually. No, but I love pushing the boundaries. I grew up listening to everything, and I love pushing the boundaries. And so I do know that will probably happen at some point. I just don't know when. But I love old school country music, and really old school, and I miss that. I miss that kind of style. So I've done a lot of that, and covered great artists in my day, and did an album called Lady and Gentleman, which I cover all my favorite male country artists of the old days, the good old days. But yeah, I would love to do more of that in the future. It just depends on whenever I feel it.
Do you listen to contemporary country? Are there any artists that you like? Or?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love country music, but I do miss. There's a heartbeat to it that what made country music that I'm missing these days. So I hope that comes back.
Me too. I mean, Loretta Lynn is all I listen to right now. So
I love that. I mean, when I turn on country music, it's always, of course, Patsy Cline, and it's, I listen to Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson and like, Hank Williams. There's so many. There was an authenticity to it where people were living, they were writing what they were living, they were living what they were writing, and you felt emotion out of people. Music saved them, like a lot of people. So to me, that's country music.
So is there a lot of music in your house? I know you have 2 boys. Are they into music? Are they performing?
It's funny. Someone said that to me a couple of years ago that I didn't play. You don't play music in the house, and I'm like, you're right. I don't. I think I got sick of it not sick of it, but like it's not something I wanted around me all the time because I was always in it. I was always doing it. And so recently, well, my youngest stepson, he's 10 and he's way into music. And so I love to hear him play guitar and like stuff around the house. And but we have a record player that we got for Christmas. And so when we sit down for dinner, someone will pick a record and we'll put like an old record on. And it's actually become really therapeutic for me. Like, I'll get up in the morning, it's the first thing I do. I'll put it on really low if no one's up. So I'm bringing music back into my life. So funny you asked that question. Yes, there is a lot of music playing around my house at the moment.
And on a record player.
Yes.
That's so sweet.
So
I love
good.
that. So I'm here repping Yahoo Style and Beauty. So I obviously have to ask you about Style and Beauty.
Okay.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
What is your fitness routine? How do you do it? You travel so much. You work so much.
I do. I'm committed to it because I like to eat. I love food, and so I do work out. But I take a jump rope with me everywhere, which is really easy to do, even if I can get in like 15 to 20 minutes of jumping rope. And I love to box. I'm kind of all over the place my mind, I get really bored quickly when it comes to working out. I'm like, this is boring, I'm over it. So I try to do a little bit of everything, yoga, Pilates. I'm not a big runner. That's the only thing. It makes me angry. I ran for like 3 years, like where I was, and I think it was just because I liked what it did to my body, but then I realized one day, I'm like, this is making me really angry. So running is something I try to stay away from. But other than that, I kind of get into everything.
And Tight Tush Tuesday?
Yes, Tight Tush Tuesday. Randomly, I posted on Instagram, my first workout video ever like a year and a half ago, and I just hashtag, it was Tuesday, just happened to be Tuesday, and I just happened to put, Tight Tush Tuesday, and people just started going off about it, and so it stuck, and so now, like you were saying, I have a blog called Soul of Everly, and so now I've kind of moved that over on that Instagram, and it's caught on. I mean, I was doing it on the Today Show this morning. I'm like, who knew? Music and working out, that's my thing.
If you follow LeAnn on Instagram like I do, you will know that she is the queen of denim cutoffs.
I didn't know that.
You
Thank you.
have amazing cutoffs. I want all of your denim shorts.
Thank
Where
you.
do you buy them? How can we buy them?
Actually, well, my friend who's a stylist, one of her favorite things to do is make them. I know. She's very crafty that way. And also Redone. Have you heard of Redone? Redone.
What is
Redone is Redone. They take old jeans and shorts and different things and redo them. It's properly named. So I get some of my stuff from them. And some of my other favorite shorts are 1 Teaspoon. I love 1 Teaspoon. Yeah, those are good.
Well, now you also know that you're the queen of cutoffs.
Thank you. Queen of cutoffs. Hashtag Queen of cutoffs. I'm using it.
You've also been really public about your struggles with psoriasis. What have you found that's worked for you for people out there who are trying to manage their own psoriasis?
Wow. Well, mine, I was diagnosed when I was 2, and I was 80% covered, everything but my hands, feet, and face by the time I was 6. So you would never know it now. People are like, really? I'm like, yeah. But I've been on a medication for 12 years now. That's a biologic drug. So I take a shot like every 4 weeks. That keeps it under control. I tried every medication. Everything stopped working for me. This was like the last straw, and it, thank God, has been a lifesaver. But I think managing stress is a big one. food, like, you know, really trying to be as anti-inflammatory as possible is always really helpful. Yeah, just a healthier lifestyle. Meditation has been huge for me lately. The last couple of years, I used to not be able to sit still for 10 minutes. Now I'm an hour in, and I'm like, please do not talk to me. I'm really happy right now. I'm just all about it. So it's changed everything for me. And yeah, I always wonder, like, now, if I even got off my medicine, like, would my skin be completely different? I mean, every once in a while I'll break out in like tiny little places, but never anything like it was when I was a kid. So, but I think, you know, mind-body connection is super powerful. And so I think, you know, taking care of this takes care of a lot of the other things. Even if it doesn't go away, it definitely helps. I have to ask, do you use an app for meditation? I don't. Well, actually, hold on. I take that back. Well, I use a timer on the app. What's it called? Insight Timer. I use that, and I love to listen. Usually, I either keep it quiet and like listen to everything that's going on around me, which is sometimes deafening. We get the silence, but you have to learn how to breathe through it. But I also I love to listen to like their little running river, like, yeah. That's always a good one. But yeah, there's a few of my friends love Headspace. Yeah. All my friends love Headspace, so that's a good one, I know. And your fans are very excited to know that you have a Christmas tour this year. This is our 4th or 5th Christmas tour. Why do you love Christmas so much? Well, I'm very much in love with Christmas. I love all holidays. My family, my godparents were actually really big into decorating and throwing, you know, big holiday parties. And my stepdad actually is huge into decorating. So between Halloween and Christmas, it's like my house is all done up. And my husband's looking at me like, are you serious? Is it that time again? I have to really put this up. But yeah, I love it. And Christmas is always, I just love Christmas music. It's a great time to tour because I feel like people are in just a different space. They're in a different energy. They bring their families out. You know, it's a very joyful time of year. And, you know, especially in these last few years when it's kind of, we've been in this weird energy. It's a moment where everybody just feels a little lifted, and I like to be a part of that. So, and before we take it to the audience, I mean, this has been such a great conversation. You seem like you're in such a wonderful place in your life. I am. And what are you enjoying the most right now? Discovery, self-discovery. You know, I don't think I've ever been able to peel away so many parts of myself that weren't authentic until now, and really like discover this other side of myself that is where I'm creating from now. So it almost feels like this whole new, you know, like I said, I've been at 20-something years, and it's all of a sudden I feel like this rebirth of sorts in myself that I'm able to create from and expand from, and that's exciting. It changes my relationships. It changes the way I look at music. It changes my performances. It changes the way I relate to the audience. It like shifts everything. And so I have this whole new perspective on like everything that I've normally been doing, but it's like this just shift of like, oh wow, I can look at it that way. And then it's been really amazing. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That's awesome. Thank you. LeAnn, your audience, I know they have questions for you. Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
I saw you twice earlier this year in concert on your
awesome.
acoustic tour.
Yes.
You were stunning.
Thank you.
But
You're so cute.
your new album Remnants is like it's a masterpiece, and Love Line is my favorite song off of it. Can you go into the writing process and maybe like some of the production, like how you came up with the idea for the guitar lick and stuff?
Oh,
like
wow.
that?
Well, this whole album, I knew. Thanks, by the way, for that question, because it's a great one. This album, I knew I wanted it to be really based around grooves. I that's the only idea I had going into this album. I had no preconceived ideas about what I wanted it to sound like and what I was writing. But I knew I wanted to really experiment with grooves. And I'm from Mississippi and the South, and like I always heard this, like there was always just a lot of soul going on, and that drum groove to me just like it hits really deep. And so, and the lyrics too of, you know, you and I are bound by a love line, and I you know, I wrote that specifically about my stepsons, but I think it runs so much deeper than that, as far as just where we are. Like we're all bound by a love line, and if we allow it. And so the writing process was just, it really came out of my love for my stepsons, and I wanted a song that that I could express to them. Sometimes I always joke, if I could sing my life, it would be a lot easier because I would be able to communicate everything. But I wanted a song that because they love listening to my music. It's really sweet, and they got that. Like, especially the younger one, Jake. Like, he goes, "Are you saying we're bound by a love line?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I get it." I'm like, God, trust me. I was in the car looking forward, and I was like, I turned around to talk to him, and I looked forward, and I was like, don't let him see me cry. But it's, you know, it was a powerful piece of music to write. Those songs they kind of write themselves in a way, but it came from a very deep place for me. Yeah, of course.
On a film like Logan Lucky with so many interesting people, moving parts, does anything ever go wrong? And if so, how do you overcome that?
No, nothing went wrong for me in this movie. It was super easy. But anything going wrong, especially just as a performer, I mean, because things do go wrong as you're performing live. I was just talking about today, I hosted Nashville Star many years ago, and the prompter it was live TV, and I'm hosting, prompter goes dead, and thank God I memorized, like, you know, most of the script, so thank God I was able to, like, spout it off. So I plan for those things and hope that they never happen. But, you know, if guitars go dead on stage or my mic goes dead. I remember one time in Vegas, my mic completely went dead, and it was on the last song, and I decided to just sit down with my guitar player and just sing to the audience. And so you just roll with it. I mean, that's the best piece of advice, I think, at anything in life. When anything goes, just roll with it. If you fight it, it's really bad. But it always makes for a good story, you know? Yeah, of course.
Hey, LeAnn.
Hi.
So you've done some acting before, and this movie looks pretty like wacky and entertaining.
Yes.
I was wondering, how do you decide what parts or what movies you want to be in, or which movies you want to have your music in?
Yeah. Well, you know, as far as music goes, it's just always kind of fallen into place. I mean, Coyote Ugly was a really big thing. That I called Diane Warren because I wanted one of the songs that she'd played me, this song called Please Remember, and she goes, "Oh, well, it's attached to this film called Coyote Ugly now, and I wrote 4 songs for it, and would you be interested?" And like, maybe they don't have anybody for the soundtrack, would you maybe be interested in doing the soundtrack? I'm like, okay, maybe. I mean, you never know like how big something is going to be. I'm like, I just would love that song. Whatever comes with that song, okay, maybe. That's cool. And so it ended up being huge. And so, I don't know, things have always kind of fallen into place like that. And as an artist, you know, you obviously want to attach yourself to movies that you like and that you believe in, at least for me. And as a actress, acting has been something that, you know, singing is like breathing to me. And acting is something I've had to, it comes naturally, but it's something I have to work at more than I do singing. So it's been picking and choosing things that, first off, I had time to do in my crazy schedule, and also just that you know, challenged me at the time. You know, this I get to play myself, which is usually the hardest thing to do, because you start overanalyzing yourself. Like, would I do that? But no, I was singing this. It was very easy. But I would love to do more acting in the future. I think now, where I'm at in my life, I have this like really deep well of emotion and feeling and all of that stuff to draw from, and I think I'd be a totally different actress at this moment. So that's exciting. I'm going to do it in the future for sure.
We have one more question.
Yes.
But
Hi.
Hi. So for you talking about missing old school music, I was wondering what songs were around when you were growing up? Because for me, and speaking of Coyote Ugly, Can't Fight the Moonlight was one of the songs that I listened to growing up and could never escape from.
Oh, in a good way, I hope.
Yeah, no,
You're
in
like,
a great
please
way.
turn that song off. I didn't realize how big that was at the time. I was 17, and that song was #1 in 11 countries. I had done 500 shows in 3.5 years, and I was exhausted. And that song came out in my exhausted stage, and I really kind of had to come out of my cave to realize, oh, this is a hit? Cool, thanks, awesome. But, you know, and now traveling around the world, people just like gravitate toward that song, which is very cool. But what songs did I listen to? My favorite song, probably that It's gonna sound like a joke, but it's not. Salt and Pepper Shoop was like, I still sing it to this day. Know every word. But what else? I mean, I listened to things like Nirvana, like things that were odd. Like I listened to a lot of my normal country music stuff, but also because I grew up in Mississippi and Texas, that was what was around. And I always wanted to sing. I always wanted to do Broadway, and so my mom was saying, well, if you do this country thing, like maybe you'll get there, like a roundabout way. And so I listened to Barbra Streisand and Judy Garland and all of that also, and my dad fed me like classic rock and old school country, and my mom was very much into Motown, and so I had all these different influences. But yeah, Boyz II Men, like Into the Road was like my 6th grade dance. I mean, random what we remember, all of a sudden I can recall this. Yeah, those are like some of my faves that I remember listening to, that I remember making me feel something. Or like, I was really young when I went to buy that Salt and Pepper record, and I remember playing in the car, and my mom's like, what did they just say? I'm like, shh, it's fine. Prince was a big thing for me. Oh my God, my mom like freaked out every time I listened to a Prince song. She I literally needed to give her earplugs because I was like, oh, it's okay, Mom. But yeah, Prince was a really big thing for me. Aerosmith was a really big thing for me. Steven Tyler, I love him to death. Yeah, so much stuff influenced me, honestly. So many different things.
All I want is to hear you sing Shoop now.
Oh my God. Hold on. Here I go, here I go, here I go again, girls, what's my weakness? Okay, then chillin', minding my business. There's all looked around and I couldn't believe this. I swear, I stand, my niece, my witness. The brother had to go when I was something kinda, wicked, had to kick it. Okay, there we go.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to record that song eventually. I've done it so many times.
That was beyond my wildest dreams.
Beyond mine also. There you go.
On that note, LeAnn Rimes, thank you so much. When can we see Logan Lucky?
It's out. It's out tomorrow.
Out tomorrow,
yes.
Logan Lucky.
Please go see it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.